Well, letter addressed to the artist in recovery, Mr. Darrell. 3:10 in the morning and it's bright and cheerful in Connecticut? I don't think so. It's 4:23 Pacific Standard Time out here in the West Coast. It's July 3rd, 2023, the Weaver Regency of Roseman, California. And it's dark as hell, but it's starting to get a little light, just maybe a little bit because we have dawn coming up in about an hour, hour and a half. Sorry, just dealing with some throat issues here. Give me a second. Morning phlegm sucks. You're talking about designing women and how things were different in your head right now as it is compared to if you had seen it back in the 80s. Sounds like you're chewing on the same age turf as I am. I'm 57. I'd seen designing women back then. I didn't even understand half the stuff over there, and I was a teenager. A teenager growing into a young man. I'm still young and growing, strapping, and still trying to figure shit out left and right. But these days, sometimes the stuff that we see back then are relevant to these days because we're seeing more and more of it. It's called context, perspective, and age, pal. The older we get, the worse we get because now we're seeing more and more how things are relating to each other and how we're trying to relate it to the earlier, actually to our prodigies, and telling them how it's going and then trying to tell our previous generations what the hell is going on. And you got to understand, each generation has its own perspective and context because it was the time that they were living in regarding their own life and their own world, basically, and people during that time. The adults back then are now ancient history. Yeah, I said that to my mother at one time, and she never let me live it down, unfortunately. I'm seeing your picture on the computer screen. That's why I'm not looking at this screen here. So I'm talking to the screen at this point. Meanwhile, my little dog is trying to tell me she wants to go out again. The joys of being a pet. Who's the pet, me or her? Sorry about that. She must be obeyed, and she's my dog, so I have to obey. Designing women back then had a lot of controversial things going on that we, as teenagers, if we were hip enough, we could catch it and probably understand it back then. The laugh track was either real or it was real audience laughing at the damn thing because they didn't think anything to deal with what we've got right now as it is. Darrell, you got to be understanding of this. Our perspective, our context changes every time, every day. We're getting older and older. We're seeing more and more, and we're still having a conniption fit over it. Because some of the things that was funny, maybe during those times, these days we see the relevancy and we're pissed off about it. A character that goes freak out because of an adult magazine stand is there and has a conniption fit over it. These days, we're seeing more and more of the political rhetoric of it. We're seeing that we have people controlling more and more because we want to control the things of our children. No, they just want to control and don't want to see the things that they got used to a long time ago. And now they're belly aching about it. They think that they could do something about it. But the thing is, we had precedents going along just fine until they say, no, no, no more precedent. We need to do it our way. So yeah, now we're having that conniption fit. We're having a toddler brain action. And they are stamping their feet. They're yelling. They're screaming their heads off. They don't want things. And the problem is, we're putting up with the shit more and more. We're putting up with it more and more. We have to do more spankings of a sort, not the physical assault. But we have to spank them down one more time just to see, just tell them, look, this is the time. So you want the future generations to change it? Let them change the damn shit. What's wrong with right now as it is? Because right now we don't want it. We don't want it. We saw it too much growing up. Yeah. And now you're being spoiled by the damn thing, and I don't know what the hell your major malfunction. This is the time of the brats. This is the time of the toddler brains coming out and trying to tell us what the hell is going on these days. What they want now. Satisfy us now. We're going to put you through the court case and win our case now. We want things now. Now, 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 now. Ah! You will do it our way. Ah! Otherwise, we're going to do that again. Ah! 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 Believe me, there may be thoughts going through the head, but if they are enacted, well, let's just say that we'd be having more issues and more complications to that one. I hadn't seen the rest of the video, but just reacting to what the hell he's been saying concerning about what the Supreme Court has unleashed on everybody. Web designer telling people now he doesn't want to allow anything else. I mean, everyone else is free, however, not with him or her or whatever it was. Doesn't matter because the precedent has been opened up doors and discrimination has been included. So now we step back 50 years or more than that. 60 or 70 actually. Almost 100 years. Uh, Several decades, let's say it. Civil rights was taken up back in the 60s, and now we're getting back to the 60s again. The mentality, that is. Law enforcement thinks they know better. They're more badge heavy at this point, and they're just as screwed up back then in the 60s as they are now. While we have the politicians telling us out, they're ashamed of what's going on. As the precedent had been set a long time ago by the predecessors, by the former commanding officers and training officers of times back then. That law enforcement has the idea that the badge means everything and they have to enforce the law, which means they have to do breaking and entering to force the law down people's throat. It's almost as bad as seeing the judges on the Judge Dredd comic series or even the movie. Or if they actually did the television series, would we watch it? Would we laugh at it? Would we freak out about it? And getting back to the adult stand, if there was a Supreme Court decision, I'd like to find out about that one because freedom of speech also has its limits, and what's artistic is also what's gross to another person. And it's also what's causing a hell of a lot of issues concerning our own psyche. I'm talking about the trypophobia. Now, I had seen so many patterns in my lifetime, it didn't even bother to freak me out until I see someone else's computer generated crap. And I'll call it crap because it had a hell of an impact on me. Artistically, it's supposed to be a freedom expression. Realistically, it's a nightmare in the senses. And then when I start putting up the connections here and there, now I'm seeing that there are connections here and there, and my brain is going absolutely bonkers. So now I have to have techniques on how to deal with this. Let's see how you try to deal with this one. It's so bright and cheerful and chippy this morning. You try to be that when you try to show that being. I know some people in recovery are just grumbling and grumbling because they need to get their coffee going in their system. You scare me sometimes. You're too higher. You're too hyper. And that is griping and grumbling and dour and sour. There's the rest of us sour pusses. Yeah, I know. Talks about attitude. Yeah, well, some attitudes I like to put back in the bed so I can sleep the damn thing off. And a sleep deprived, emotionally screwed up zombie I am. A lot of things happened in my life that unfortunately I just overwhelmed, and now I got to deal with this persona here. I got to deal with legal issues. I'm seeing with people talking and griping about how their life is still miserable, and they point the fingers at everybody else. I swear to God, when I did that little comic thing about it's all right now, and I call them toddler brains. Well, they are toddler brains because I did not just lost the damn shit. Okay, it's a me generation. It's all for me. It's not for you. Everything is for me, not for you. Who cares about you? It should be for me, not for you. Who the hell do you think you are? This elitism that's growing these days. They think they're more higher and special than anybody else, so their ego's got to be the super inflated, has to be towering above everybody else, and they're in a crowd. They just don't know it. Imagine everyone else blowing up a huge ass balloon, and it's your own ego, and you got it attached to a string, and you're seen to be the anchor. And then you look around, and everyone else has got the same damn thing. You have to keep pumping up. You want higher and higher, bigger and bigger. You want to say that you are more important than everybody else, and everyone else is going to do the same damn thing. It's a race. We can only go so far and so high in the atmosphere before we lose integrity, or we can't go into space. And then we have to either pop the damn balloon, which will be devastating to us because now we got to deal with the hurricane forces that we shoved into the damn thing, and we got to deal with the after effects and the consequences of it. But no, you don't want to deal with that one. You don't want to keep bumping your balloon higher and higher until you cause devastation around the place. I got to deal with the pieces of ego lying around left and right. It's disgusting. Not to mention everybody else's ego at this point. Very gross. So I got to deal with this attitude. I got to deal with that attitude. I got to deal with this perspective, that perspective. It's me, don't you know? That's what it's always been. It's the ego at work. You got to say it. You got to admit it. You got to acknowledge it. You got to be responsible for it, accountable, and transparent about it. Otherwise, you're just a complete toddler brain. Yeah, I'm calling you on it. I'm calling on every one of you guys. You guys have to be aware that you have this personality inside of you that wants more and more. You'll keep denying it, denying it. You don't want to see it. I see it every single damn day because I see the reflections of it in everybody. And then I have to see the reflection about it in myself. I'm like, terrific. Now what did I do wrong? So I had to review the mental tapes. Said, oh, terrific. What the hell did I screw up at this time? And how do I fix it? Being part of a 12-step program. Those are the things we have to look forward to. We do what we call the 4th step, which is write down every damn thing we screwed up on that we can remember. Whose fault it was, for what reason. And then, down the road, in the steps, we have to make amends to this damn shit. Of course, we have to tell people about it. Someone we trust or someone we don't trust, a stranger, buy them a cup of coffee and pour out the life story. Well, hell, turn on the video so you hear my life story. There may be more in there, and I still got to pour them out. This is my own 4th step in the sorts. I'm going through stuff, and I'm talking about it. And other people are like, don't do that. Don't you know how embarrassing it is? For who, you or me? Well, for you. Well, if I'm telling it, why am I embarrassed about it? Because I'm bringing up the damn skeletons? No! Why? Because the skeleton might scare the hell out of you, or the skeleton might be you. Ah! If it was a wrong I did to you, then I gotta find a way to make amends. Get away, get away, get away. Well, then it's on you, not on me. I cleaned up I cleaned up my area. Don't like it. Have a nice life. Deal with it. Because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with them. I want to deal with my own damn life. And even if I'm talking about it, I'm going to deal with my life my way. And if they still don't like it, hell, they can talk to me about it. But they don't want to talk to me about it, fine. Talk to the hand then. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your misery. Enjoy your silence and your entombment. Me, on the other hand, I'm still dealing and struggling with whatever kind of day and nightmares I've got going on in my head. And damn years and nightmares. How about that one? Okay. You notice I haven't spoken about much about politics these days. Well, I'm not touching about that one just yet. Just yet. I just wanted to touch about little old me losing his head this morning. About normal. This is Monday, boys and girls. This is Bug Day. The Ant-Man cometh. Because tomorrow is a holiday. I don't know. You think he's going to be coming today? I think so. Which means I got to clean the place up a little bit for the schmuck and let him do his job in this place. I've been up at about 3 or 3:30, so I've been waking up all this time. Takes me a long while. Have a good one, guys. Daryl, lay off the damn caffeine, will you? You're too depressing. You're energetic. You are scary, man.